I'm Shea, and I go to NYU, and right now I'm studying at CYA. I'm at the School of Independent Studies, so I am majoring in philosophy, specifically continental philosophy, and French. I'm from the suburbs originally, and moving to this big city where everyone dresses up. Not everyone, I suppose that's a little much, but people in New York are not afraid to express themselves just because it's such a big city. In this anonymity, there's so much freedom, and people take advantage of that. And I don't know, I very quickly realized that I wanted to partake, and it was, I don't know, kind of nice to be in this free environment. And so I think my interest in fashion probably very much flourished then. So a good friend of mine who I go to NYU with, she is from New York City originally, and I stay in New York over the summers too to do internships and take summer classes and whatnot. And she over the summer also is staying in the city, obviously, as she's from there. She stays with her dad. I would hang out at that apartment, her dad's apartment, with her sometimes. And one night I'm over, and her dad has a good friend of his over, who is this woman who is from Italy and had studied philosophy in, I want to say Rome. We started discussing this at some point when we realized that we had this mutual thing in common. And I asked her, what do you do now? You know, expecting that she was going to say something in academia or a teacher or something like this. And she said, I'm a professional chef. And I asked her, how did you go from studying philosophy to working as a chef? And she said, I think something that I learned, I love philosophy, but something that I learned while studying philosophy is that one needs balance in life, right? Philosophy is this very often abstract subject, very heady, very intellectual. It's all in here, right? Like, I can sit here completely motionless and do philosophy in a way. And for her, cooking is this very hands-on thing. It's tactile. It's you do something and you see the product, like not the product, perhaps the result. And she said it's important to have both, because if you only do philosophy, then you'll eventually, you're not going to be happy eventually. You're too in your head. You aren't connecting with the outside world at all. And I thought to myself, I have this interest, and I thought to myself that was a good point. And I had this interest in fashion already, and I thought, well, fashion is a very tactile thing. Perhaps I should get involved with it somehow. And then I got an email asking if anyone wanted to do this internship at LoveCuts at CYA, and I kind of jumped on that opportunity. It had all lined up so well. In general, I usually help a bit. You know, I'll do some cleaning. I'll watch clothes being made. I'll watch how she chooses to organize the shop. Things like this. I think I'm a little bit of her little shadow, I would say. That's how I feel sometimes. Right now, also, we're working on the new clothing for the winter season, and I'm going to help her style the photo shoots for the website and Instagram and whatnot, these sorts of promotional pictures. So that will be a lot of fun. And I'm also working on this, she had told me on the first day when we were talking, I had mentioned that I enjoy thrifting a lot. And she said, bring in something that you've thrifted that you wouldn't mind accidentally making some mistakes on if that were to happen. And so I did. I brought in a huge oversized, like, men's extra large pajama shirt, I think it's from maybe the late 70s. It has the collar. It's it's like a purple pattern. It looks like wallpaper almost. I quite like it, but it is about a dress on me. So I brought that in, and we're turning it into an actual dress right now. You know, just as a learning experience. You know, I've learned how to, you know, add buttons to something, how to, we've added elastic to give it, like in the back right here on the inside to give it more of a waistline. Like, I've been learning all these little tricks about how to, I don't know, I guess physically realize the ideas that one has for a piece of clothing. If I were to go into fashion, I have learned that I don't think I would want to be in a job where I'm primarily making clothes, perhaps, but I think it's important if one is interested in design, for example, to still know how these things are realized, right? To still know how to do these things, to know what is possible, what is difficult, what is easy, these sorts of things. For one thing, it's in a different neighborhood than my classes and apartment are, so that in itself is already, I think, quite beneficial, right? I'm getting to see a different part of Athens. I'm getting to see how people in Athens approach work and the workday, things like this, because it's incredibly different than New York, I'll say that much. I find that in Athens. I was shocked the first day I worked at my internship because, I don't know, there was just all these little small things, like someone, you know, sometimes friends would come in of the owner, and they would just chat for a bit, you know, not as customers, just because they could. I don't know, there's things like that here, I find, right? Like, work isn't the entirety of one's life here in the way that it can be in New York City, for example. And I think that's been really good for me to experience, to see how different cultures approach the workday and things like this. I really love the classes here because they're all conducted, for the most part, at least all mine are, in the seminar style, which is what I'm accustomed to personally. It's I chose the college I go to at NYU for the same reason. So I like that I was able to find something with a similar philosophy. I think I've been shocked by how unique Athens is. It clearly has an identity of its own. I mean, even in the way that the neighborhoods here are formed, right? Like last night, for example, I was walking around with a friend, just, I don't even remember where, and we're near some bank buildings, office buildings, things of this nature, and right in front of it, there's a little sort of dugout hole, and in it, ruins of an ancient building. I don't know any other place in the world where one sees that. You know, the integration of, I suppose, I don't know, the past and the present in such a way.